Oracle Coalfields is a UK-based company with coal projects in Pakistan, and the chief executive is Shahrukh Khan. We spoke to Shahrukh about this time last year. It's been a busy year for you. I know you come to and from Pakistan a lot here in London, but what are the recent developments you've seen? What have you been doing since we last spoke?
Well, since we last met, it'll be almost a year, and in this period we've have achieved significant milestones for the company. We've moved away from exploration to actual development. That's the key aspect. So we continue to be de-risking the project. One of the key milestones has been the completion of the feasibility, the technical feasibility that is, and the project is sound. We can do open cast mining operation. We have a definitive time plan in place to take it to actual production. The second point was, the milestone was the submission of our documents for the mining lease. We applied for the lease in November of last year. We don't foresee any delays in the issuance of it. We've had technical committee meetings at government level, and we've received a lot of comfort on the back of it, even at the Sindh government level. So in view of that, once the lease is in hand, it allows me to go into pre-development, which is next milestone for this year. And what pre-development means is that then I can start actual field activity, and that is the beginning to actual mine development. It's terribly exciting for the company, but also for the country, because potentially this is going to be one of the country's largest mining operations. Certainly in the coal sector it will be the biggest. So with that comes responsibilities. Now with that responsibility, we are also undertaking an environmental social impact assessment study, and that is near completion. The baseline study was undertaken since early part of last year, and we don't foresee anything of a major impact that would hold back the project. And then the commercial acceptability. We are in discussions with our customers, particularly KSC, the Karachi Electric Supply Company. We intend to now convert the MOU into a joint development agreement, and that discussion is underway right now. And once that is completed, then we move into project finance. But in this period, I can start some activity on the field, including a CSR program, community social development program with the local communities.
Before we talk about the project financing, I just want to get across the fact that in Pakistan, this is all very, as you say, very big news, isn't it? I mean, this is in here, in this side, around London, you know, you're a small cap company with a share price, small cap, £11 million, I believe, market cap. But in Pakistan, this is big news, isn't it?
It is because a lot has been discussed about Thar coalfield over several years. There was a myth that technically these projects can never be delivered. The quality of coal is such that you cannot commercialize it. And thirdly, the international funding and support for projects of this size. We've been at least able to deliver on the first two, and that is, we've shown that the project is technically sound. We've covered all aspects. We've de-risked that. We know that in the context of the quality of coal, it's commercially acceptable, even at industry level, and certainly the power generation. And we've shown that when you compete like with other lignite mine operations across the world, it is of good quality for the purpose of power generation. And the third part is the challenge, which is making sure that we project finance it. But we believe we can deliver on that because we have worked within certain international standards. We never missed anything, and it will be accepted by the investment community. And I've done my rounds on the equity investors and even the lenders, and the impression I get is one that there's a willingness to move and finance a project of this.
So they understand the urgency and the need in Pakistan more than the share price here in London represents for you as a company that's working towards this large project.
I mean, I obviously don't be distracted by share price. The fundamentals are very sound. It will speak for itself. And what investors should always factor into their assessment is how we've de-risked the project over the year, and if we've actually increased investment value. So we've come to this very critical path now to commercialize it, and I'm sure investors will come to appreciate that. But there's a whole audience for that also. It's not just a UK market. We have a Middle Eastern market. We have a Far East market who understand the appetite of risk and to invest in Pakistan, providing we tick off all the right boxes. And we've provided that comfort to date. So we're not so far from taking the project forward.
My understanding is that when you get that funding in place, that's when the stock will be attractive to investors. So why should investors buy in now into the Oracle story?
It's value. And having faith in what we've done. If you look at our track record over the last 3 years, we've achieved all our key milestones. Sometimes they've been delayed only because we want to be sure that we've done it right. Because if you're going to take on responsibility to do the first large-scale mining in the country, it needs to be done right the first time. So if there are delays only because you want to be sure that you haven't missed anything. But once we have achieved that milestone, we can only move forward, and that's how we have progressed. So in view of that, if they look at our track record over the last 3 years, and they're comfortable by our track, in terms of what we've achieved, then there's no reason why we cannot continue that.
Do you have a date for production, a date in mind when you'd like to see production really
What
underway?
we have done is that in early February this year, we did an RNS statement to the market, and it was based on an owner management basis as undertaken by our key consultants. We're talking to a major international mining contractor right now. They visited my office and they've been to the site also. Our intention is to do it in phased out program so we can generate early cash flow and early production. To answer your question, ideally I'd like to target around about 2014 and then ramp up the mine in 2015 to support the power generation. So, but with pre-development, if I can start that sooner rather than later, will allow me to work towards that schedule. So technically the project is there, ready to be delivered. If there's any delays, it's held by obviously financing. And only they are the ones who are going to hold the project back, not the company itself.
What about the infrastructure? Will it all be in place by then?
Well, our basic modular approach to this project has been trying to make best of available resources. And we've never asked the government for anything more than that. However, we are very delighted with the government's its own initiatives and efforts to develop infrastructure to support the mine, not just for ourselves, but for all other stakeholders in the future. One evidence is the development of the airport. We saw it. I was there 3 weeks ago. I was joined by my team, and we were taken back pleasantly how big area they've covered, and they're already building a airstrip, a paved airstrip that will land 737s and B130s. So there's a government is serious in the intent to develop the infrastructure, and they already have a pipeline program to develop transmission lines and also new road to support the mines.
So this year, what's then next for investors? You're working towards these goals of financing and so forth. What should investors watch out for in terms of news for 2012?
Well, certainly a key aspect is the lease. One that's an asset. I mean, we have what is called a probable reserve. That becomes a proven reserve once you've got the lease in hand. So it shows the commercial acceptability of that and the strict definition of JORC. Moving away from that, it's actual pre-development at field. So there's good, healthy news flow in terms of what we're doing on the field because we have a good work program in place for that. And understandably, with the offtakes, we'll have a pricing finalized, and that pricing will eventually be the benchmark in the country as far as the coal price sold to the electricity market and even the industry. And so there will be news flow on the back of that. And obviously third is the making sure that we have the set timeline to actual mine development. So, as I said, this is all now development stage. There's no more work required to work on the technicalities of the mine itself. It's all about moving forward and getting the project into fruition.
Okay, well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Shahrukh, thanks for coming. Shahrukh Khan there, the Chief Executive of Oracle Coalfields.
This film is for educational and leisure purposes only. Proactive Investors does not provide investment advice. The company is a publisher and is not registered with or authorized by the Financial Services Authority. Please refer to the full terms and conditions on the Proactive Investors website.